The answer to that question is unfortunately going to be no. I believe this was made by the same people who made the last few Winnie the Pooh movies, the horror films that we've got. I have not seen those. I can't really comment if they are of the same stature as this film. We're only speaking on Pinocchio Unstrung today. And if you're asking yourself kind of the same questions that I was going into the film, like, is this going to be like... I mean, the trailer does not hide it. It looks very cheesy. It looks very, like, lowbrow, like, B-movie kind of horror film. And that's, relatively speaking, that's what we got here. Feel like I wanted more from the film. The film follows Geppetto and Pinocchio, and Geppetto's grandson, I believe. The details are already kind of escaping me. Pinocchio is on this quest to be a real boy, and that quest ultimately leads him to eliminating others along that path. In pursuit of getting his own body to fulfill his dreams of being a real boy. That is essentially the plot that we were given here. See, when I initially saw the trailer for the film, I just sort of already wrote it off, dismissed it as being just a B-movie horror flick, something very silly, very just not really up my alley. And then I watched the film, and to my shock, there's actually a few aspects of the film that I actually enjoyed. Like, there's a few good ideas in here, particularly in the beginning and the end portion of the film, are undoubtedly the film's strong suits. The aspects that I did like were putting a horror spin on these old fairy tales. I think that's a very unique angle to come at. Where the film ultimately falls apart, I think, is in its execution. There are things in this film that are very, very exaggerative to the point where it just took me completely out of the film. I'm gonna be honest here. I could put up with silliness in the horror genre, but there's aspects of this film that just take it a bit too far for me. I actually kind of like the twist that we had nearing the end of the film. I thought that was pretty unique. For the most part, the killings in the film did not work for me. You know, I can stomach a lot, and I've learned to over the past, several decades of slasher flicks that we've gotten. There's a lot of goofiness to be found in the Jason Voorhees beating somebody against a tree in a sleeping bag. Gotta be top 3. That is some of the best horror that you'll ever find. But a lot of these killings and things of that nature did not work for me, unfortunately. There are maybe 1, maybe 2 in here that are worth mentioning. It has some good ideas. I think it really falls apart in execution. Another thing that I did not like was the design of Pinocchio himself. I think they went for sort of like a little bit more of a realistic take on him. He does... if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually is a puppet, as in they filmed with an actual puppet. I just didn't really care for the design of him overall. He is made to look a bit more realistic. I can kind of see that, but I think there's some missed potential there. I think there was, if we went back to the drawing board on his design, I think there is some room for improvement there. I think we could have come up with a better design there. At the end of the day, I didn't hate the film. There are some aspects of the film that worked for me. Most of it, unfortunately, did not work for me. So that comes down to our big questions. Was the film fun? And unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say, I do want to give this one credit for just being dumb, goofy fun. I am going to have to say no. I don't think the film really holds up even to its own, even to what it was kind of setting out to be, just like dumb fun, really goofy horror. I think it somewhat still does fall flat in that aspect. And our last question, do I recommend the film? That's a tough one. If you're in the market for some really cheesy, B-movie horror, I think this is going to be right up your alley. I will say I walked away from the film a little bit disappointed, even going into it with low expectations. But at the same time, I was kind of shocked by some parts of it. There are a few aspects of the film that worked for me. Story beats, narratively speaking. The twist nearing the end did actually kind of land for me. I think there's a lot of potential here. I don't feel like we really took advantage of. At the end of the day, I think this one is going to be a bit of a disappointment for me. I don't think that I will be rewatching it. But if we do get more horror fairy tale movies in the future, I am down to watch those. I think if this team keeps at it, there is some potential in putting a horror spin on these fairy tales. I do think that we can pull a good horror film out of that idea. Unfortunately, that was not this film. So with that being said, thank you for sticking with me.